Hello, everybody. I have a question for each and every one of you who may watch this video, and that is, what is your self-worth and self-talk? You know, in some of these past videos, I've been talking about external forces, how people or things can impact the way you look at life and how you take things. How do you, feel about yourself at the end of the day, right before you go to bed at night. But I'm also forgetting that there's a battle that is internally inside of all of us, each and every one of us, that has to determine, what are we about? What do we bring to the table? And is it worth it at the end of the day? How do we do things? How do we perceive things? I can tell you, be happy, be positive, this and that. But at the end of the day, it's also about what can you bring to the table for yourself? What do you see that is valuable within yourself? You can't allow everybody else, outside forces, to help build you up all the time. It's nice to get a compliment here and there. It's nice to be reassured from person to person at times. Yes, it is. But also, you have to pay attention to what makes you get up each and every day. Sometimes our upbringing can play a big part in that too. Was it a lot of positive reinforcement? Or was it negative reinforcement? Or was it a good, fair mixture of both? But I just want to tell you too, that sometimes we think that our upbringing or how we started our life is going to determine and dictate exactly where we go from then on. But that's not true. Sometimes your background is just a starter point. And then you can build yourself up as time goes on. Now, I'm not a person that likes to talk about the red pill community really that much and all that kind of type of stuff, and men versus women or anything like that. I'm not into that. But I would like to say this personally for men, because I'm not a woman. I cannot speak from a woman's perspective. But as a man, I think that men in our younger age, late teens, 20s, we think that we're supposed to have everything figured out, ready to go as soon as we get out of high school. That's just not reality, man. That's not reality for most men. No, the teens and the 20s, that's your starting point. That's where you start from, and then you build yourself up. Most men don't even get to a good level of, finances or where they want to take their careers until pretty much into their late 20s, 30s, 40s. That's when you hit that marker of where you're going to actually find your self-worth. Sometimes we have so much negative reinforcement from our younger days, and it impacts our later days in life. But I think hanging around the right type of people, the right type of company, the right type of job. Sometimes the job can also impact how you look at things. But having just the right amount, a mixture of positive things, can also help bring you up, help bring up that self-worth. We had people in our day, back in the day, maybe tell you that you're not worth anything, you're not good enough, because of how you look, because of where you come from. You cannot make it. You cannot go to this type of level. You can't go any higher than where you came from. That's not true. Take it day by day. Look in the mirror sometimes. Say, you know what? Who am I? Sometimes it's good to ask that question, not in a narcissistic, jealous, silly type of way, but just simply a pure question to yourself. Who am I? Why am I on this earth? Why am I here? You take your time and just relax. Come to yourself. Think about it. Where am I from? Why am I here? Just take your time, ladies and gentlemen. You're not going to have all the answers all at once. I am 30 years old right now. I take my time with things. I learn new things about myself each and every month. It seems like there's always a new telling feature that I'm starting to get. I used to get to a point where I didn't really stand up for myself some years ago. I used to accept the lowest common denominator from people all around me because I didn't know my self-worth at that time. But now, coming from it from different people, seeing different walks of life, experiencing things finally that I've always wanted to do, it's allowed me to understand my self-worth. And sometimes understanding your self-worth, people, it brings a lot of loneliness. Sometimes I'm going to tell you that. And that's only because there's not so many good people out in this world. I mean, there is a good amount of good people, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of selfish Andre people who will take advantage of your self-worth and use you for their own ego building. But that happens when you're trying to have so many friends, when you're trying to fit into so many different collages of different people. I want to say, build your own collage of what you want to do. Sometimes your entourage could be big. Sometimes it could be small, with just on maybe one or two people that you could actually consider friends or family. But nevertheless, it all comes from here. This is how you actually build your life up. It's by taking time to fill yourself, your heart. And then you can understand how you can actually contribute to the world in a positive way. That's all I wanted to say, and I hope everyone has a great Sunday. Peace.